Hi, I'm Rosemary, and I'm going to be presenting my digital studies capstone, which is a digital companion to Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. For some background on Northanger Abbey, it was published in 1817, but Jane Austen wrote it really early in her career, and it wasn't published until after she died. It's a lot lesser known than her other works like Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility and all the other ones, Emma, basically everything else except for this one. It follows Catherine Morland, who is the heroine, which is a word that gets used a lot in the novel, as she travels to Bath and becomes socialized. She's really naive, and so the novel is kind of about her becoming a young lady and learning about herself and the world. But I personally find it really interesting and important because, first of all, it's really funny because it's a parody of the Gothic novel. And we all know that Jane Austen is incredibly smart and witty, and so she does an amazing job bringing in a lot of comedic elements while also mixing in a lot of gender dynamics, which anybody who's familiar with Austen is used to that kind of situation in her novels, commentary on inequality between genders, all of that sort of thing. And so I think that it's kind of a hidden gem when it comes to literature, and it doesn't get enough recognition. So that's why I decided to devote my entire capstone experience to making a companion and representation for the novel. So my project, my companion. So my mission was to create a website and digital projects for the website that can be viewed alongside Austen's Northanger Abbey. I figured that that would make it more accessible or interesting to people who are looking at things online, because a lot of people aren't super into reading books these days. I'm an English major, so that is my wheelhouse, but other people are not. So I thought that like making this and making images or creations or a website that could kind of act as a companion to actually reading the novel might be helpful or funny or entertaining or what have you. So it's kind of broken down into different sections on my website. I have an About This Project page, and then I have a page that is dedicated to all of my projects. There's a project for every chapter, and there's 31 chapters. Then I have a tab dedicated to an annotated bibliography that I did when I was doing research on the novel, because I wanted to be pretty familiar with scholarly ideas surrounding the novel and the themes and the characters and all of that sort of thing, and the digital and media adaptations of it, because there have been a couple films. And then I have a section on reflections, which is more dedicated to the capstone aspect of this project. And so there's a midterm one, and then there'll be a final one after this. So my website is capstone.rpolyinfo.com. It is a subdomain on my website, which is just rpolyinfo.com. And we can just get right into it. So when you first click on my website, my logo is the first thing you see, and then when you scroll down, you see the table of contents. I did this to emulate a novel to make it seem like a book, and all of these page numbers match the edition that I chose to use, and the citation for that edition, which I use in all my posts, is also in the footer of my website, so you can always see which edition that is. But so I have my table of contents, and all of these link to individual posts, which are also available on the sidebar at all times in any post or page that you're on. And then I also have a search in case you just want to type in a chapter really fast. So first we can go to my About This Project tab. Here is just kind of my pitch for this project, as well as a citation and a link to the Gutenberg site, which has the entire novel for free. So if you ever want to read it and don't want to buy the book, click that link. Basically, this just explains my mission that I already explained in my slides. Here we have my annotated bibliography. It is 5 sources, and basically it's sort of an abstract and then an evaluation of each of these sources and the discussion they're having, the methods they're using, that kind of thing. My reflections, there's only one in there right now because it's my midterm reflection, and I'll do another one at the very end of this semester. And then we're back to our table of contents, which you already saw. And so for the rest of my presentation, I was just going to take you to a couple of my chapters and my projects. I think a good place to start is chapter 1. So the basic rundown for all of my posts is somewhat of an introduction, a quote, and then whatever media projects I made, with some more commentary, a little bit of explanation, or why I did what I did. So for chapter 1, First, I made this kind of flowchart diagram situation that describes Catherine Morland, who is our heroine in training. Jane Austen frequently refers to her as a heroine in this novel, partially due to the parody of the Gothic that we were talking about. So that's really fun and entertaining. So I also refer to her as a heroine a lot in my writing. In this flowchart, in the center, I have Catherine. And then I have 4 ideas that are really associated with the novel. So growing, Catherine is growing as a young lady. I also have mending appearances, because in the first chapter, there's a lot of talk about what she looks like and how she's growing into a more beautiful young lady, which relates back to the other section about being a tomboy. Then I also have social awareness, which is another part of growing up as a young lady, being accomplished, appreciating other people's accomplishments, knowing how to act in a social setting. And then reading, which is a pretty common theme in this book. Austen loves to emphasize how important reading is. So young ladies should read in Austen's eyes. This chapter, because it was my first one, I also made another digital project just for fun. So this is kind of a play on the meme, the I'm not like other girls stereotype and starter pack situation. So in the first chapter, I have a quote that explains all of it, but basically we know that she's into Gothic stuff. She likes to read things that young ladies aren't supposed to read. She's into cricket. She hates picking flowers, and she's not afraid to get dirty and play in the dirt and the grass like a tomboy. The other chapter that I just wanted to touch on was chapter 7. It's a common theme throughout my posts that I hate the character John Thorpe, as you're supposed to. And so something inspired me to make this political ad for John Thorpe. I just thought it would be fun. So basically, I kind of spun it as if the reader was voting for someone to end up with Catherine in the end. And John Thorpe is a candidate in there. He's vying for her heart. So in this little political ad, I kind of made it like one of those corny ones where it's like, John Thorpe hates novels and women. And then, of course, you don't want this kind of man marrying our heroine. So instead, he would support Henry Tilney, who is her other love interest in the novel. So I just thought that was a fun little project. Other than that, like I said, there are 31 chapters. So you can click through and see all the different things in there, the quotes from those chapters, and all that good stuff. And other than that, that is all I have for you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at rpauley@mail.umw.edu. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.